get it started. Obviously, it's a big commitment for all of us to be here at 7:30 on a Friday, every other Friday. So I do want to say welcome to everyone who is here. We'll have, as I said, we'll have a few brief updates from the project. I'm just going to brief overview of updates when we get there. The biggest one, and Tracy will place it in the chat as well. Our address has changed. You'll hear that a couple times today. So you'll see our new address. She'll place it in there. We're located, or our address will be there. There it is, our new mailing address. All email address, all the other contact info, even our cell phones, all that stays the same. But yeah, our address is in the chat box, 316 California Avenue, number 5, right down here, right in Midtown Reno. 89509 is the zip code still. So we'll make reference to that time and time again. But I do want to say thank you. It is an interesting morning, certainly here in the Truckee Meadows in the Reno Sparks area. We had some good rain. I think it's very calming. And on that calming note, I'm going to hand it over to Lori for our moment of gratitude. Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Nate. Thank you all for being here and taking the time this morning to be together. And I'm just trying to find my pictures here. As Nate said, we are very grateful here in the Reno Tahoe area for rain, real rain last night and even continuing into today. So let us settle into our seats. If you're seated with your feet on the earth, sitting bones in your chair, and taking some nice, generous belly breaths. On the inhale, breathing all the way down into your abdomen if you can, or imagining that you are filling your entire chest cavity down to your abdomen with breath, generous breath. And exhaling as if you were squeezing up from your abdomen, like squeezing up a tube of toothpaste on the exhale, and bringing all your breath out. So taking a few breaths like that, deep belly breaths, and just let your thoughts go. And opening your eyes if you are near a window, looking outside and appreciating what we see brought to us from Mother Nature. Out my window, glorious color, the leaves changing, cloudy sky, moist earth, wind in the trees, and appreciating the gift of every bit of that. And for those of us who are feeling hydrated from the rain, I actually had to go out on my porch last night at 3:30 to see the lightning, feel the thunder, and witness the rain. And if it hasn't been moist where you are, just imagining for yourself, what does it take for hydration, for nourishment? As the earth is being nourished here with the change of seasons, what is it for each of us that will nourish us throughout this day? Hydrate us from the water that we drink. Will hydrate our bodies, what will hydrate our minds, what will hydrate our spirit. And tapping into that during the day when we may feel adrift or dry, to know what will help us and what will keep us nourished throughout our day today. So again, taking a generous belly breath, exhaling, and appreciating those in our households who will also be nourished on this day. Thank you all for being here, and may you have a wonderful weekend as well.
Catch up. Thank you, Lori. So, I no, relax there. Thank you. Moving on. As I've been mentioning, we have everything that OANV does now. We're placing under the project, and how I've certainly been communicating that in my outreach is that that's what we do. We operate the Nevada Financial Resiliency and Empowerment Project. So just a quick update we've been mentioning, and then I'm going to place I'm putting the link in the chat for our website, but I'm going to go ahead and share our screen. We've made some updates because obviously this is the world we live in now. So we've updated the header even to relay that. Those are the first words out of my mouth usually when I engage somebody now. Opportunity Alliance Nevada, where we operate the Nevada Financial Resiliency Empowerment Project. And unfortunately, another acronym. For those of us with a government or military background, there's plenty out there, but it is NFREP. Internally, we refer to it as that a lot. So, and then we have our motto there, helping Nevada build financial security. So I want to show you, we are trying to centralize, trying to put everything kind of under that umbrella as well. So when you land on our website or when you click home, it's going to come to, it's going to launch a second one. It's going to come right to that page where you see the project. And so let me minimize you guys real quick. And if you roll down, you'll see what's under that project with different links. And as well, all the other buttons work the same, but we're guiding everyone to that, or having everybody land on the project. I'm going to be updating some verbiage here. I'll have a summation of what the project is as I get it into words, which right now I'm stepping over my own words at times. So that'll be coming. And again, these match everything that's on the page, the redundancies that you build into web design. Volunteer, again, help takes you right to the VFN page. But decide that too, on the side where it doesn't change, we have two places noting our new contact info as well. So again, I told you you'd be hearing about that numerous times at today's meeting. Many of you should have gotten it either in MailChimp or individual messages from us as well. So that's there so you can see a nice little graphic, but then spelled out really nicely. And of course, it's at the bottom of the page and in all our correspondence as well. But I just want to show you, so we're redirecting that. We are always open to any feedback anyone has. So I placed it in there. Poke around. Again, it's always evolving, but we do want people who are looking for help in any regard, even if hopefully they can even ask for help at times before they need it, to land there, see the project, see there's pieces, and that way it'll keep our elevator speech tight, so to speak. So those are updates that again keep coming as we're messaging the project, which I'm coming around more and more to see that is the hook that works to get people in. So when we drill down on there, we'll see that we'll do the floater. So I'm going to do my introductions today. Volunteer financial navigators, and it drops you down there where you can hit the help button and all that. And for an update from that program and project, I'm going to hand it over to Lori to give us a brief update for the VFNs.
Good. Thank you, Nate. And
Thank you.
I look forward to taking a better look at the website as well.
Yes.
I'd like to just start by saying we are recruiting for volunteer financial navigators. Gratefully, actually, some of our stellar navigators have have gone to the other side, are working in the eviction mediation program, and which is wonderful for everyone. And we are really still actively recruiting VFNs to be on our volunteer side, particularly, as always, looking for bilingual navigators. So please reach out in your networks and send them to our website where they can complete an application to be a VFN. And we're very flexible, by the way, with people's schedules. If people can come on and take a few, quote, a few tickets a week, see a few clients a week, that is really helpful. So we are willing to work with navigators with their schedule and their availability, of course. So keep that in mind. And the tickets, what's mostly happening on the platform, view from the platform, are the referrals from the eviction mediation program. And it's been wonderful. The navigators from that project are referring folks to us who want to further work on their spending plans, who really want to get a budget going and look at their expenses and income, and who may need other resources beyond what the eviction mediation navigators have shared with them. So I think it's been a great communication between Shannon Myers and her team, and Kelly and myself working with our navigators to get these clients into a more stable and sustainable situation, knowing they've been in the good hands of the other team initially and then coming to us. And we're still getting, our requests mostly still around rental assistance. And so we, of course, are taking them to the appropriate resources, which particularly in Las Vegas, if you've looked at Clark County's website recently, if folks are in the city of Las Vegas, they must go through RAFT first, the City of Las Vegas rental assistance, and then into Clark County CHAP from there if needed. So yeah, it's interesting to see it all unfold, and I'm anxious to hear from Shannon Chambers about how it's going with eviction mediation. So I think that's it. Thank you, Nate. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lori. I couldn't have done a better segue myself. We do have actually the eviction mediation program, a place for it here where this is informational only because it is a direct partnership with Home Means Nevada. And yeah, I can't do a better segue than you did, Lori. So I'm going to ask Shannon Chambers, you can go ahead. I'm going to stop sharing and let you give us an update from that side and from yours and Shannon Myers' team. So take it away.
Great. Good morning. Thanks, Nate. And thanks for the initial presentation. I think that's great information. Like the graphics and everything. So the eviction mediation program, and right now it's really focused on the rental side. So it's mainly in Clark County. I'm just going to say that again, not to say there's not issues across the state, but the volume is still really in Clark County. And this past month alone, there were 580 eviction cases that were sent to Home Means Nevada, and we're working with Shannon Myers and her team to drill down on all those cases and the data. The challenges are still there in terms of tenants, a lot of times just waiting until the last minute. And then the challenges of just navigating through the rental assistance process. So Lori mentioned the new program out of the City of Las Vegas. The issue with that program is that a lot of individuals applied for that program that don't live in the City of Las Vegas. So that's creating some issues. Other individuals are intentionally applying and using a different zip code to try and get in that program, even though they don't live in the City of Las Vegas. So we're working through those issues. On the good news side of things, and it was in the Nevada Independent. Nevada, it now ranks number 10 in terms of getting rental assistance out. So that is actually a pretty amazing accomplishment considering we were down about 25 about 3 months ago. So between the mediation program and the courts and groups like Opportunity Alliance of slowing things down a little bit and trying to give an extra effort to get people approved for rental assistance, we're now up to number 10, which is a really, really good thing. The challenges now is, you know, I think I mentioned this at the last meeting, we're into this over a year now. So a lot of individuals have gone through the 12 months of rental assistance, and there still is some confusion of can they get up to 15 months? Can they now get RAFT? Can they get something else? But we're seeing that cycle now of a lot of individuals they're out of resources. They're out of rental assistance. And the other phenomena right now, and a much bigger issue, but the rental rates, not only in Washoe County, but Las Vegas, are going through the roof. And I hate to even use that term, but it is astronomical, some of the rental rates. And that is kind of a workaround now that some of the landlords are using is, you know, the tenant may have received rental assistance. Well, now if you want to renew your lease, your rent's going to go up by $300 or $400. So, and I'm not exaggerating. I mean, that's literally some of the increases that are going on. You know, for those of us that live in Northern Nevada, we hear about this all the time. I mean, it's just, you know, it's an issue. And I know there's a lot of work being done on that side. The Nevada Housing Coalition is going to have their conference at the end of October. The governor's office is creating, you know, a housing kind of initiative. So hopefully that issue will be on the table as well. We have been having conversations too, and this is where it ties directly in with like Opportunity Alliance and some of the other social services entities, is that, you know, what we're starting to see again with some people that are out of options is that social safety net that has to step in, and whether it's rehousing or other types of things, you know, that may be the next phase of this. But it's my view that we probably are going to have a busy November and December with evictions. And, you know, we sort of knew that was going to happen based on the Supreme Court decision that said the eviction moratorium was not valid. And for those of you that watch Washington, you can see what's going on back there. So I don't expect anything to happen on that side of things. So we'll continue to work these cases on the state side and try and do the best we can to get as many folks rental assistance, get the landlords paid. But, you know, the reality here is unless something changes drastically at the state or federal level, there will be a lot of individuals who either because they do not qualify for any more rental assistance or because their rent has gone up substantially, may be in a situation where they're going to have to find different housing. So again, a different phase of all this, but still some good stories and still some good news. But, you know, I don't want to minimize the problems and the issues. And, you know, our conversations, kind of the working group, you know, we meet quite frequently. And our last meeting this week was kind of the discussion about social services and high rents, and again, kind of moving to the next phase of this. And I don't know what that's going to be, but I think we're in for a few more months of pretty high eviction rates. And then on the other side of it, and I mentioned it last meeting, we may see some issues starting with housing too. I don't know. Foreclosures are starting to happen again. So just so all of you know, because Home Means Nevada runs the foreclosure mediation program as well, we are starting to see foreclosures again. So again, hopefully by 22, and I keep saying that things will look a little bit better. The job picture is still cloudy with bursts of sun is the best way I can say it. And it's almost unbelievable, good or bad, that, you know, I'm hearing from employers every single day of, I have jobs starting at $19, $20, $21 an hour, and I can't find a single person to apply. I know there's various factors to that, childcare, you know, COVID, all different types of things. But until the labor market really kind of stabilizes and gets kind of back to normal, I think we're going to have ongoing issues involving rental issues and housing issues probably for another year or so. And in terms of the eviction mediation program on the rental side, it is scheduled to go through all the way through June of 2023. So that kind of gives you an idea of maybe where we think this is going. But just for perspective, you know, in a normal year, there is a 5 to 6% eviction rate. So we are above that, but we're not substantially above that, just so everyone knows. Kind of the mass predictions of hundreds of thousands of people being evicted fortunately has not come true, but it is still an issue. And, you know, maybe going forward where this all will go is similar to other states. There may be specialty courts or, you know, what they call diversion courts that kind of become permanent things in Nevada. I don't know if that's going to happen, but there has been discussion of that. But that may be where all of this ends up eventually, is it creates a permanent type of specialty court to deal with evictions, to deal with foreclosures, and tying that with the social services agencies, because you know, I don't see this federal money lasting forever. That's just my opinion too. Like I said, if you see what's going on in Washington, it may not last forever. So hopefully there'll be kind of a more permanent plan that comes out of this. But for now, I just want to thank Shannon Myers and her team. They're doing a wonderful job. And, you know, they're finding out a lot of these cases, and I know your navigators know that already. Some of these cases are not easy. And the situations that some of these people are in are not easy to go through. And there's really, in some of these situations, no good solutions. And I'm definitely someone that's solution oriented, but it's a big issue, especially with the rising rents. It's just a huge, huge issue. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, actually, I have something first. I'll lead it and then leave it to the floor, or send it to the floor here. But I was curious. So you said the eviction, like the rate is not that much normal, I mean, higher than a normal year right now. You said, I mean, so maybe a tick up or something.
So it's about a tick up of, so the typical eviction rate, and this is what I've heard from the apartment association, from the courts, is it's anywhere around 5 to 6%. So we're still within 2 to 3 percentage points of that.
I wonder if there's, and that is, I mean, I would say, so the, yeah, 10, if we're 10 out of 50, we're in the top 20%. That is impressive for rental assistance. But I'm curious, you know, because that's its own thing. And then they did the eviction. I wonder if there's, as you said, there's a timeline, 12, 15 months. My conversations with Shannon Myers and stuff too. I mean, there is this nebulous piece there, and not to have a pessimistic outlook, but do you think there's a correlation between that, because they were able to access rental assistance, that it kept the eviction rate from skyrocketing? I mean, again, not the pessimistic outlook, but do you think there's a correlation, like when the rental assistance, when we do get a firm, you're done, you're out, if we'll see a jump in the eviction possibly?
I mean, in my opinion, Nate, it's possible. There's a definite connection between the rental assistance and, you know, being able to stay in your home. And I will tell you this, is that when we started this last October, those individuals that first got into the rental assistance portals and applications and were approved last year, that group seems to be much more stabilized. What we're seeing now is literally people who've been living in their place for a year or more and haven't taken advantage of rental assistance. So this is a different group, is the best way I can say it. So, you know, your question about, we could see a surge in evictions because these may be the group that there are no options left.
Okay, just thank you. I was just curious. Curious if there was a correlation. Again, obviously we don't have the hard data in front of us, but your instincts have been pretty good, I think, on all this so far. So thank you. I will. That was actually a lot of information, Shannon. I appreciate it. You mentioned Shannon Myers. She's on the call here too. Last time she was able to share the some testimonials and the good stuff. So we are helping people, but I'm gonna I'm gonna be quiet and then see if anyone else has any questions for Shannon Chambers or even Shannon Myers and her team on this program. This is very important and yeah, interesting time for all this going on with the evictions. If not,
Can I
Lana,
ask a question real quick?
please go ahead, Lana. Thank you.
So you were mentioning about how the rent's going up $200 and $300 a month all of a sudden. That literally happened to one of my girlfriends yesterday. Is there any, she's never missed a payment. She was never late on a payment for rent. Is there any cap that the landlord is allowed to do, or can they just raise it to whatever they want? I mean, does she have any recourse, or is she just going to be stuck next month paying $300 more a month?
So the reality is that a landlord can pretty much raise the rent as long as the market will bear it. And that's the easiest way I can say it. What our discussions have been in our kind of working group is she may want to contact like legal aid, or if she's up in Washoe County, you know, Washoe County legal aid, or there's, again, I'm not, but just guessing here, but if she's a senior, there's Washoe Senior Legal Services, and I'm not saying it right, but that is kind of where some of this is going right now is, you know, sometimes legal aid is getting involved and basically, you know, trying to negotiate with the landlord that, you know, you're raising this rent in quote unquote bad faith. You know, this is an area where, you know, lawyers and property managers and different people get involved, but the reality right now, and again, I'm not an expert on the rental side, but from what I'm hearing from even attorneys and stuff is, if the market will bear it, and if your lease is up and there's no kind of clause in that lease that says the landlord can only raise it, you know, 3% a year or whatever, that the landlord can move forward with something like that. And that's not, I mean, again, you know, that's not what I want to hear in some of these situations, you know, especially people that are on fixed incomes and different things like that. But that is a story and a narrative that, you know, I'm hearing more and more of every day. And I don't know what the solution to that is. I think that's going to take a big group effort and, you know, some resources to help some of these people. But you know, for those of us that live up in Washoe County, I mean, it seems like the market is, you know, it seems to me like they're still renting those $2,600 apartments up here.
Studios, basically.
Yeah.
Linda placed in there too while you were talking. And I remember I was watching the chat, but she placed $500 increase for two people she knows, which is I assume is in the area up north here and everything. So.
And that may be, sorry to cut you off, Nate, but that may be,
No,
you know, I know in other states, you know, like New York, they have, you know, rent control, and other states do. I mean, that would have to be a legislative issue, but that's something that certainly I'm hearing from different groups that there may need to be some type of an initiative about rent control.
Yeah, it's one big, it is a conundrum. And you know, we've talked about before too. I mean, again, you know, the tenant and the landlords both are both in this together in some way, shape, or form. We're in this as a community. Likewise, you know, housing, especially up north here, there's, you know, always trying to add more. So then you have to bring in the builders, supply chain, you know, there's cost. I mean, unfortunately, these aren't as simple as one side or the other. It's who we need to help or who's at stake. So thank you. Is there anyone else? I'll go back to the floor here.
Hi, this is Shannon Myers. I
Thank you,
just
Shannon.
wanted to reflect just a little bit on the conversation. I think one thing, you know, as we're hearing about rental rates increasing, I think a lot of things that we've been hearing also from tenants and landlords is that they're wanting to sell the properties. And lots of times there's a good relationship between the tenants and the landlords. But when the rent goes up or and they need to move because the rent is going up or because the landlord wants to sell the property. It seems like these tenants some of them are okay with it. They just are kind of going, how do I do this? Because I don't have socked away money to then put down a deposit and my first month's rent or whatever it is. So they don't have that money saved up that they might have had before in order to move. So they don't seem to mind moving. They just can't figure out how to get the funding in order to do that. So that's something that we've noticed.
And Shannon, I think that's a really good point, and I'm going to bring that back to the group too. That is a really good point. We are seeing, to Shannon's point, a lot of these landlords and just with the market now are like, I just want to sell this house. I want out. I just want to sell, while things are high. And I've heard that story more and more of, I don't want to be a landlord again. I just want out. But I think your point, Shannon Myers, is a really good one, that, a lot of these people have had a relationship for a long time, and, they are trying to find the best way sometimes out of it, but the resources just aren't there.
Hey, thank you. Linda gave a good shout out to Christine. Christine S is on the call today as well with the Nevada Housing Coalition. I participated in your meeting there and stuff, and I know that's, again, it just, all this stuff gets batted around. As I said before too, I don't necessarily have the solution, but we're in this together, and if we can realize that, I think, we will make headway. Are there any other questions, general or otherwise, for Shannon or anything else here?
This is Brenda. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I've literally been trying to talk for like a bit and I couldn't get my microphone to work. So I did want to mention that there are some programs for deposit assistance. So here at Washington Affordable, we have a deposit assistance program, but our program does require that the rent, which sounds like will be what these people are needing, it needs to be that their rent has to have increased by more than 10% in the last 90 days. So then we would need proof of that. The unfortunate side of that, though, is that our program specifically is for the lower income individuals. So those that are maybe not considered lower income, we may not be able to assist, but the point is that there is some, here in Northern Nevada, there are some programs that do deposit assistance. And so if anyone does need more information on that or whatever, you can feel free to reach out to me, or and I can see what other information I can find.
Muted. Yeah, Brenda, that's great. Actually, if you were able to place anything in the chat box, sounds like you might be with your phone if you're having issues with your mic, but yeah, actually that could be, I was going to take it actually back to kind of Shannon Myers. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's the, bounce it off Shannon Myers as a soundboarded piece there. Do you think that would help, deposit assistance for some of the clients that you're working with? I mean, obviously you're mostly in Clark County, but I'm just kind of more or less anecdotally thinking, that seemed like maybe the target population we're dealing with at some point here. And deposit assistance is a big, it helps them with access for sure.
I think for sure that would definitely help. I think it, depending on the eligibilities, a lot of people maybe were not considered low income before COVID, but at this point, maybe they are because of job loss, asset loss, different things like that. And I do think a lot of the people that we're talking to right now, yeah, they aren't in low income housing. This is really very new to them. Hence why they're just now applying for rental assistance. Some people are sometimes reluctant to reach out and get this type of help. So, I think it really depends a lot on the eligibility, but I know that And we do have, I think, an older population that when these rents go up, they're on a very, very, very fixed income. And so, yes, I do think that having deposit assistance and, moving assistance, it costs a lot to take all of your stuff. We've had one tenant last week who had been in the house for 12 years and was now having to move out. So they have a whole lifetime of items and things and everything that they're going to move. And that takes a lot, especially for an older generation, to be able to move all of their things. So it's deposit and it's moving expenses and everything like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Lori, I saw you unmute.
I just wanted to say, acknowledging our volunteer financial navigators and working in this arena, not only on the rental assistance, but working with the savings and spending plan and helping people see, okay, where are the places that you could, reduce your spending in other areas, and look at your credit card debt, and encouraging, perhaps looking for better work. As Shannon mentioned, places are offering an hour to work, and maybe there's a way to increase income, looking for a better job. Also looking at alternative housing situations, having roommates, moving in with family, maybe not the best case scenario, but so that folks can at least kind of stay afloat. So our volunteer financial navigators have been digging really deep into helping folks navigate to get to sustainability, resilience, and empowerment. And it's tough. They come back to us and say, okay, and we've been having kind of case study talks on our Wednesday chit chats, what can we do to really help these folks get to stability and beyond? So thank you for our navigators and all that they do.
Yes, and yeah, and honestly too, that's what's wonderful. All but one of our rental or eviction mediation navigators are VFNs, or will continue to be, or will come back. So it's a good nexus right there too. It's a very informed assistance when they hand it off to a VFN, and then those are true volunteers, and we do love their time. I appreciate all your time for being here so early. This is where I love having Linda around still. She's placing so many resources in the chat box as well. Brenda placed her Reno Housing Authority email in there, but Linda mentioned, yeah, so Hope Link of Southern Nevada. Yes, the Center for Healthy Aging for seniors with deposits and moving expenses. And her current role with Unite Nevada, which we are helping her build that network as a partner, will be of great assistance after they launch it here. So thank you, Linda. As always, it is why it's nice to have you around still. Are there any other, thank you. Are there any other comments or questions, possibly in general, anything else to share? We're coming up, we've got about 15 minutes before we're a full hour, but this was pretty much what we had today. But it is our it is a regular meeting. So you guys can, if you have something to share, I would ask, just go ahead and unmute and go ahead and pipe up. If not, I will, thank you, Kevin. Let's see here. Let me share my screen one more time. On the website, let me jump back there to where we were. These calls, don't make them necessarily, we don't publish necessarily all of them if there's confidential, but I don't think there's anything to share today. This will probably be on here as well. So when you look at the project as well, oops, click on the project. Back on our website, all these calls that we feel that where there's nothing confidential or nothing too top secret here, so to speak, we do have a call list. And again, it's on the drop down menu, it's below on the web page, and it will take you right to YouTube as well. And there's Linda's lovely face again. So if you want to see past calls, past presentations, past partners, past discussions, again, that we feel we are able to share, it is there. It's part of the project. If you miss something today, sorry for the airplane, you know, you can go back and review this as well. So this is a very important part of the project. We will, we will have a partner present in 2 weeks for something that we actually are improving. An improvement we'll be adding to our website, hopefully between now and that call even. But again, in 2 weeks, hopefully we will be able to see all of you. If you miss some of today, again, this will be, Tracy does an excellent job editing and uploading to our channel. So this one will be up there. This will be public, and there are all the past ones. And as always, I do really thank you for your time. 7:30 on every other Friday can be it's a commitment. Let's put it that way for sure. So and you know, time in the working world, time is money. So I really appreciate those of you coming in, chiming in before you're at work, or if you're in a different time zone, maybe you're there chiming in from work. But thank you so much for your time. If there's nothing else, I will bid you adieu. Have a wonderful and safe weekend, everyone. And we will see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you for the updates, both of you, and Lori.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.